both guys are mentally strong. Both guys are skilled.
Yeah, and I think we'll probably find out which one of those guys have got a hell of a chin, because they both can throw some serious leather, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Spence is strong. He's a strong puncher, but Crawford throws the shorter punches. If Crawford gets ahead, starts controlling the fight with his jab and backing Crawford up, then I can see Spence winning. But if Spence goes in there, if Crawford goes in there and finds a rhythm, then it might be a W for Crawford.
Welcome back, everybody. It's your boy Raw Talk, back with another banger. Man, let's get right into it, man. Errol Spence needs to make up his mind, because he is single-handedly hurting the welterweight division. You got Jaron Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, standing on this, man. A lot of Conor Ben. He might, I don't know. Look like Conor Ben might be trying to come back. You heard Manny Pacquiao and Conor Ben supposed to be working out some kind of, who knows, man? Could you see a Conor Ben and Manny Pacquiao fight or exhibition? You never know. But right now, Spence versus Crawford, will it happen? It should happen. That's the fight that boxing deserves. That's the fight that the welterweight division deserves. Errol Spence is allowing HAYMON to literally put trainer wheels on his career. And why? Because he don't want to lose. You're not going to have a 50-0 Floyd Mayweather record. It just ain't going to happen. You said you're going to go up to 154 to fight Keith Thurman, because why? Ultimately, you don't want to give him a shot at the titles. No surprise there. But at the same time, you heard Crawford, when he went on his YouTube rant, he talked about it. He told everybody what was going to happen before. He said, word to the wise, Spence versus Thurman is supposed to be happening. And then guess what? But the fight theoretically still hasn't been announced. Then you start hearing about Spence and Crawford. Those talks were starting to basically heat back up, because Errol Spence is really adamant about not wanting to fight Keith one-time Thurman. And I don't blame him. The fight should have happened already, but Thurman did not want to give Spence a shot. Okay, I get it. But Errol Spence, instead of being petty about it, he should look at it like this, because this is exactly what it was. Thurman did not want to get stopped. He didn't want to get knocked out. He did not want to lose to Errol Spence back then. And the only reason why he's willing to do it now is because that loss comes with a significant price tag attached to it. But the fight that we all want to see is Spence versus Crawford. The welterweight division was the hot division. Then they heated back up with the heavyweights with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Then 68 heated back up when you had Canelo fighting Bivol. Now you got Beterbiev and Bivol. Those talks, according to Eddie Hearn, are supposed to be in the works, and that is going to be a super fight. Now you got Jenna Beck and Liam Smith. Supposedly that fight was ordered by the WBO. That's going to be a huge fight. You have the 130 and 135 pound divisions. They on fire. So the welterweight division is becoming one of the lackluster, if not the lackluster division in boxing. And it shouldn't be. It has great, bright, young talent. And the veterans like Crawford, like Spence, these guys are hurting the division. And being as though this fight is not happening as it should, is hurting boxing. But you know what? Spence fans, you want to hate Crawford, but you can't hate Crawford, because Bud wants that fight. I don't know if Spence wants that fight. HAYMON is literally putting trainer wheels on Errol Spence's career. Why is he so afraid for Spence to lose? If Spence fans always say, and I'm a Spence fan, but I don't say that crap, because I know Errol can lose, just like Bud can lose. That's what makes it a great fight. But to sit up here and say that Bud is going to lose, Spence is just going to smoke him, you tripping. And you might be high, and I ain't knocking that. Smoke up. Because if you happen to put money on that fight, guess what? You better be smart about it, because Errol Spence can lose. Crawford can lose. Errol Spence is a dynamic fighter. Excellent jab, body snatcher. Defense, deceptively good, but Errol Spence's defense, the key to his defense is his footwork, is his body attack. Errol Spence, he uses his offense for defense. But Crawford has so many tools and so many weapons, and he's so diverse, being able to switch from orthodox to southpaw. And Bud has power. Even though he came up from a lighter weight class, Bud, his power has carried and increased as he went up. So you can't sleep on Bud power. Bud can hurt Errol. And Derrick James, Errol Spence, HAYMON, Floyd Mayweather, they know this. How is it that you got Floyd Money Mayweather, shout out to the champ, 50-0, legend. You hear more press, you hear more bells ringing about Floyd Mayweather fighting exhibitions than you hear about Errol, the true Spence Jr., trying to either put on a fight or about to fight, whether it's Thurman or whoever. That should tell you everything that you need to know. Why are they so afraid to invest in Crawford versus Spence? Because if Spence loses, that is going to be a significant cut in their quote-unquote financial revenue. Errol Spence is one of their biggest draws, besides Gervonta Tank Davis. And Tank is starting to kind of shift away from that PBC circle. He's becoming his own boss. His last fight, that was on GTD Promotions, along with Showtime. And you know PBC was in there somewhere. But Tank is starting to evolve. And with Errol Spence, with Man Down Promotions, Errol's starting to evolve. That's why I do not know why he's so afraid to take on that fight and that responsibility. But at the same time, Errol Spence is his handler, his manager. Shit, it can be his fairy godmother for all I know, for all I care for that matter. Only thing that I know is Al Heyman, the training wheels that he is putting on Errol Spence's career, is hurting Errol Spence's career. If he loses to Crawford, so what? That will not be Errol Spence's last fight. If Crawford loses to Spence, that is not going to be Bud's last fight. I told you guys before that these two guys, you're talking about it could be one of the best trilogies in boxing history. But does Errol want to fight Crawford 3 times? I bet you dollars to donuts, Bud wouldn't mind fighting Spence 3 times. Because Bud believes, I lie to you not. You can just listen to how Bud talks about the fight, what he's going to do to Spence when they fight. Bud believes he can beat Errol Spence not only once, but if need be twice. And if it happens 3 times, he can beat him 3 times. Wash. But I'll give Spence a little more credit. If they happen to fight 3 times, Spence is going to win one of those fights. More, who knows? But I'll give Spence is definitely going to dig deep in one of those fights, and I think that he can pull one out.
I don't even know what to say.
But Errol, he has that dog. But Bud just got that mean streak. You know what I'm saying? You can't teach that. That's street life. That's growing up in some of the most worst conditions that a person could possibly grow up. That's getting shot in the head. That's going through all types of crap. That's the kind of chip that puts on your shoulder. That's what Terence Crawford has. And you can't train that into a fighter. Bud is he different. And on top of just being different, Bud is extremely talented. Spence is also talented. But Crawford, in my opinion, man, he just has a bit more tools in the toolbox than Errol Spence. And when he pulls those tools out, I think that he's going to have the edge in that fight. So Spence and Crawford need to get it together. Thurman needs to fight Jaron Ennis and stop trying to price himself out, because you're not getting $10 million to fight Boots. You wasn't even going to get $10 million to fight Spence. So what makes you think we'll get that to fight Boots? Thurman claims that he's not a gatekeeper, but at the same time, you at the gate holding the key. So you need to fight Jaron Ennis. And I favor Jaron Ennis. With Thurman, it'll probably be the toughest fight for Boots to date. We seen when he fought Chukavian, he can go 12 rounds. But I don't think that Boots needed that fight or needed to show people in that fight that he can go 12 rounds. Although that was the narrative after the fight. But I don't believe that Boots needed to do that. But his opponent came for a marathon, not a boxing match. And that's out of Boots' control. But when he fights Keith Thurman, Boots will stop Keith Thurman. He will stop him. And that fight is probably not even going to go 10 rounds. I can see Boots probably stopping Keith Thurman probably between 6 and 8. We all know Keith Thurman is soft in the body, but I believe that Boots will outbox Keith Thurman before he starts breaking him down and chopping him down. And when Boots starts to do that, Boots is aggressive. He's an excellent finisher, has power, can switch. He can beat you with either hand. Great mobility, great agility, great stamina. He's just going to wear Keith Thurman down. He's going to wear him down. And when he catches Keith Thurman, he could possibly hurt Keith Thurman. Once he knock a veteran off, former champion, somebody like Keith Thurman, those doors are going to begin to open. And this next fight is possibly going to be a Crawford or Spence, Virgil Ortiz in the future. So, I told you guys this before, like Spence and Crawford, the shelf life of their careers is starting to get up there. So they might as well make this fight get their money because they're going to make a ton of money. Give the fans the fight that they deserve. Give your legacy the fights that it deserves. Whether it's 1 fight, 2 fights, 3 fights, do what's right for your legacy. Sometimes fans don't get the fights that they want. Sometimes fighters don't get the fights that they want. To understand that. But I do believe that Spencer Crawford do want that fight. But I do believe that Al Haymon is probably the one responsible for holding up this fight. And he's really in Errol Spence's head. I can't even say it's referee either, because he's the one that's been feeding Errol. But when you really look at it, the fans has been the one that's feeding Errol Spence. That's what Spence need to realize. They pay you based upon the revenue they know they're going to get from the gate, from the pay-per-views, and who is at the gate, who is buying the pay-per-views, who is buying the merch, who's doing all that? The fans. So give the fans what they deserve. Spence versus Crawford. Thurman, be a man, fight Jaron Ennis. That'll be a great fight. I do give Thurman a shot. Thurman is skillful, has power, but I believe that Jaron Ennis is just too hungry. He's starving. And once he steps into the ring with Keith One Time Thurman, that may be the last time that One Time ever steps into the ring. Talk Nation, stand up as your boy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And you already know how I play. Share the truth. We back at it.